New at 5, Columbia police right now are searching for the person who shot a man in a neighborhood near the old Boone County Fairgrounds. KRCG 13's Mark Slavitt joins us live from the scene in the 3700 block of Greeley Drive.
Megan, police say someone shot a man multiple times here on Greeley Street. Investigators are not saying exactly how many shots and the location of the gunshot wounds. Police say the gunshot victim went to the hospital in an ambulance with life-threatening injuries. Investigators are not releasing a suspect description or a vehicle description at this time. Detectives continue to investigate the circumstances surrounding the shooting.
Other law enforcement agencies, including the Missouri State Highway Patrol and other local area agencies, were informed of the incident, again, just with details that we've understood from the incident itself, and so they are on alert as well.
And Megan, police are asking anyone with any information to contact the Columbia Police Department, or you can call Columbia Crime Stoppers at 573-875-TIPS. Reporting live in Columbia, Mark Slavitt, KRCG 13.
We have an update from the April 26th Black and Gold bar shooting in Columbia. Police say authorities have arrested a 21-year-old man in Texas. Miles Hillegas of Columbia was arrested on a warrant for first-degree assault, armed criminal action, and unlawful use of a weapon. Police say an argument led to the shooting. One man had non-life-threatening gunshot wounds. Hillegas is awaiting transport to the Boone County Jail. We're following a developing story out of Nashville. Our sister station reports someone shot a man inside a mall after an argument. This is video we just got within the last hour. Police say the victim has been flown to a local hospital in critical condition. The shooter is now in custody. We have a presence at the scene. Here's social media content on our exclusive app, Banjo. Facebook user Brett Lee shows us a picture of the heavy presence of first responders there. And Instagram user Cam Ray Hart says, "You think it could never happen to you. I'm so thankful for all of those involved keeping us safe." We first told you about city spending and the dissolution of New Bloomfield's police department. Now we're learning about apparent ethical issues inside City Hall. KRCG 13's Ashley Zavala joins us in the studio for a preview of her investigation.
Yeah, Megan, those ethical issues stem from some family ties we found among city officials. Community members say they're concerned there may be nepotism happening in the city. I sit down with former leaders of the Callaway County City to talk about the potential conflicts of interest.
They're citizens that just, they're not paid. They elect to put themselves out there and do it, and they get nothing for it except criticism.
Watch our report tonight on what New Bloomfield community members say are troubling family ties. Megan.
We now know video cameras will not be allowed in the courtroom when the governor goes to trial later this month in St. Louis. It's for his felony invasion of privacy case. The judge is citing security concerns and the fact the woman involved in the affair opposes video cameras in the courtroom. You can read what the judge may allow on our website, krcgtv.com. Missouri Senator Claire McCaskill this evening is making a to-do list following a roundtable discussion on health care in Columbia. She says rising health care and prescription drug costs are a top priority in the Senate. And after meeting with doctors, patient advocates, and community health workers, McCaskill wants to create new legislation to help lower health care costs for Missourians.
The Republicans talked about repeal and replace, and it turned out it was just a bumper sticker. They had no plan to replace. And so what we should all be doing is quit playing politics with people's health care, come together and fix some of the problems.
Josh Hawley says McCaskill's policies, including the Affordable Care Act, are responsible for high health care costs. McCaskill says she will wait until next week's hearings in the Senate Intelligence Committee conclude before making a final decision on whether to support the nomination of Gina Haspel as the next director of the CIA. As KRCG 13's Kermit Miller reports, the White House has turned up the heat.
That Ambassador
Gina Haspel is a 33-year veteran at Central Intelligence, serving most recently as deputy to now Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. What would you assess the president's confidence level at right now?
Kermit, we're very confident that when the American people get to hear Gina Haspel's testimony next week, they'll know that she's the best candidate for director of the CIA.
Haspel has baggage. She spent most of her career in the intelligence agency's clandestine service, including time during the George W. Bush administration as chief at a secret detention facility in Thailand, where interrogation techniques labeled as torture by critics were used. Haspel also helped to get rid of recordings of those interrogations.
Is this going to be a vetting of waterboarding? And if so, can she withstand it?
Well, a couple issues there. One is that the intense interrogation program was determined to be lawful, and Congress was briefed on it prior to the beginning of that interrogation. Even the Democrat counsel on the House Intelligence Committee has written to say that throughout their investigation, she was entirely exonerated.
She did have involvement in a dark chapter in our country's history, but she's gotten recommendations from a lot of people I respect from both parties.
Claire McCaskill is among a handful of incumbent Democrats fighting to hold on to their seats in states that supported Donald Trump for president, which might explain why a senior White House assistant was made available to a small television market in central Missouri.
You're talking to me because this is a red state with a Democratic incumbent running for re-election, yes?
Well, we certainly hope that Senator McCaskill will afford Gina the opportunity to tell her story. We'll keep an open mind until she's been able to answer all the questions.
Last week, faith-based groups lobbied McCaskill at her St. Louis office to reject the Haspel nomination. Kermit Miller, KRCG 13.
McCaskill earlier broke party ranks and supported Mike Pompeo's nomination for Secretary of State. The confirmation hearings for Gina Haspel are scheduled to begin next Wednesday. A group wanting to ban lobbyist gifts to Missouri lawmakers has turned in signatures to get a question on November's ballot. KRCG 13's Elizabeth Hoffman joins us in the studio with what this ballot initiative means.
Well, that's right, Megan. Clean Missouri's ballot initiative would make lawmakers' records subject to the state's open records law, lower limits on campaign contributions, and change how legislative districts are drawn. A spokesman for Clean Missouri says it has collected almost 347,000 signatures. Now, the Secretary of State's office reviews signatures before approving initiatives for elections. Megan?
All right, thanks, Liz. Zach, we dodged a bullet last night, it seems. We can hear the wind roaring outside the newsroom. What's in store for us next?
Well, I think tonight actually is going to be a pretty quiet night overall. Still can't rule out the chance at an isolated shower or even a rumble of thunder later tonight. But really here through the evening, not bad. Just some clouds. It's muggy outside. A live look across Jefferson City. So there's plenty of action outside right now out on High Street here on our Scruggs Lumber Skycam. Max 13 radar right now showing a couple areas of some light showers, mainly across Callaway and Osage County. Some of that down around Phelps County as well near Rolla. But most of us here through your evening, we're going to remain dry. Temperatures are in the 60s to 70s. The clouds really help limit some of those temperatures today. But the fact that we had those clouds and we even had some rain lingering a little bit later into the morning across parts of the area is what's going to save us, I think, from that severe threat later tonight. Again, there's still that slight chance for some storms, but we could find some more into the weekend. I'll show you that, plus a preview of what Shelby Fest weather looks like for the weekend coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Zach. There are more allegations of sexual harassment coming to light against former CBS News host Charlie Rose. The Washington Post reports it has found another 27 women making similar claims. 14 of them are CBS News employees. The other 13 worked with Rose elsewhere. The women say he engaged in behaviors such as unwanted advances to sexual touching. The White House is watching for signals from North Korea that the country may be ready to release 3 American prisoners. The parents of a young man who died after being detained there has filed a lawsuit with graphic details of how their son was brutalized. The suit says when 22-year-old Otto Warmbier was airlifted home, he was blind and deaf with a shaved head, feeding tube, and was unresponsive.
We were always told that Otto was okay. So you can't believe a word they say. Look how he came home. Was that okay?
Warmbier died last June, just days after being returned to the U.S. His parents met with the families of the American prisoners. The Trump administration is pushing for their release, saying it would be a sign of goodwill ahead of a planned summit between the two nations. A warning for you as summer approaches. The CDC releases some alarming statistics. That's coming up after the break on KRCG 13 live at 5.
Rain showers actually help improve our pollen conditions, making things a little bit easier to breathe today. But with the lack of rain over the next few days, those pollen levels shoot back up, and we could have a little bit of a breezy night. Your forecast is next.